Listen, I haven't watched this new Bo Burnham Inside special, if it's even new anymore, because I'm old.
Yeah, it came out a while ago now.
It came out a little while ago now. But I'm already sick of it, bro. I'm already, because it's all over fucking TikTok. I'm hearing the songs left and right, and it's like, they're fine. They're not that good, guys. Like,
well, the easy solution is to not be on TikTok. Because I haven't seen a lot of talk over it.
Yeah,
and there you go.
Fucking like every third TikTok is using a Bo Burnham song. If I have to hear this Jeffrey Bezos song one more fucking time, Jesus Christ.
I feel like there's limited stuff you could do with that as well. They would just be the same. People would be saying the same kind of stuff over and over again.
You would think. Sometimes it's creative, and sometimes I chuckle, and I go, huh, that was cute. But often it's like, fucking, again? Yeah, I get it. It's the same setup, punchline, joke. Got it. I understand. Anyways.
People are trying to drag it out, I guess.
That's my little rant. And I'll be honest, people who just listen to the Bo Burnham songs, like, casually, y'all are weird.
Considering the stuff that I listen to, I'm not going to say that.
I'll say it. Y'all are weird. Like, the shit isn't... Like, they're not good songs. Like, they got catchy little melodies and moments and stuff and like, funny little jokes inside them, but they're not good songs. Like, songs. You know what I mean?
Not something you would
like,
listen
it's
to
music.
casually.
They are songs, but it's like... These aren't, like, fantastic songwriting. Like, you know, it's just like a fun little melody and then, like, a joke. And you're like, all right, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Why not listen to, like, Kendrick Lamar or something?
I hate you. You're such a piece of shit. Anyways, Connor, let's go ahead and drop some synths on him. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 51. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Connor, say hi to the people.
Hi, and I'm a little bit upset that the opening wasn't about the amazing win by Italy over England in the World Cup, whatever that was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's soccer game. Big
oh,
soccer
yeah,
game.
I saw some people in Italy are writing or something. I don't know. Good for them, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe not. I don't care.
They won by penalties.
Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Cool. Anyways, if you didn't know, this show comes to you every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time. Me and Connor come to you every week. On YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, all those. Like, subscribe, follow. We really do appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Now, if you're wondering what this show is, we come to you every week with the new video game news. Me and Connor each come to you with 2 topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. This week, let's jump into my first penny here. I want to talk about the PlayStation State of Play. Connor, this premiere, when did it premiere?
A couple days ago.
A couple days ago from the day of recording. I can't find the actual date.
I'll find it.
It's fine, whatever. Connor, did you watch the State of Play? Did you see the State of Play? What did you think of the State of Play?
I knew nothing was going to be on there that I was super interested in, so I waited till after it happened. I didn't watch it live, and I looked at the stuff that came out after the event already played out. And doing that, I'm happy I didn't watch the event because it wouldn't have been for me. I would have sat there kind of bored for the most part.
Sure. I mean, they came out before and they said, hey, listen, it's mostly about Deathloop. We're going to show you some indie titles and some other stuff coming. Nothing, and they were even like, yo, no Horizon, no God of War, nothing for this new PlayStation VR thing that we're working on. Like, so I think they set expectations pretty clearly.
Yeah, they were transparent about it. I mean, like, no one should have ggone into that and been upset after it was over.
Exactly. But, you know, of course you're going to get your little chatters and, you know, who are spamming chat, just show us Ragnarok. And we're like, no, we don't have Ragnarok to show. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I couldn't watch it live because I was working at the time, but I went back and watched it in its entirety later. I thought it was fine. There were a couple of games that piqued my interest, but, you know, overall, like, there were several games in here that I just didn't really care about. Normally when we do these things, we do like a full breakdown, but I just don't see the point in giving you the breakdown of what's coming in the Death Stranding director's cut, you know? So, me and Connor just kind of picked, you know, 2 games that we thought were interesting, and then we'll finish it off with, you know, the meat, which was Deathloop.
Yep. Even that was difficult enough to find 2 things that I was interested in enough to talk about it in any capacity.
Well, see, I didn't have issue talking about 2 things. It was just it was like, okay, I know Connor's gonna want to talk about Sifu, so
yeah, I've been eyeing that since I saw that first trailer.
So yeah, I'll start with what they opened the show with, which is Moss Book 2. I always wanted to play the first Moss, but of course, PlayStation VR coming out at $400. I don't have the space for VR to begin with, and I haven't found the need to go out and buy one, but people loved the first Moss. I thought the first Moss was really interesting, and I really wanted to play it. And this one just looks, you know, bigger and better, and more detailed environments and so forth. Still clearly like lower res images and stuff. Like Moss himself isn't the most high detailed character model. I think that's just because of where VR is at. What was interesting to me is no hard dates or even confirmed platforms other than PlayStation exclusive, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is clearly going to be their big launch title for their PlayStation VR 2, whatever they call it, and they're just being kind of hush hush about it for right now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know you were interested in this kind of game at all. Actually.
It's a little puzzle, little action, little character action puzzle game where you're helping your little mouse friend through. Yeah, sure, why not? I like stuff like that. Neat and fun. Not like the most like, oh my god, this is an amazing title, but definitely like, oh, I would play that and I would have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah, right.
I'll move on. Yeah, let me just go ahead and get my second one out of the way. Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. We got an extended look at that. It's coming to PS5 and PS4 on September 7th. We got to look at this at some other state of play, or maybe it was like the PS5 reveal event or something. I forget. But I liked it back. I liked what I saw back then. I like what I saw now. Lots of cool action, side scroller, beat 'em up esque, type things, pulling off some combos and stuff.
The things you would expect from a side scroller.
The cutscenes look super cinematic and really, really well animated and detailed, and I really like all that.
Yeah, that was the most that drew me in the most, seeing those cutscenes, because I didn't expect it from this kind of game. Usually they don't really put a lot of work into doing any kind of cutscenes at all, so different from what we usually would see from these kind of titles.
I also think this main character here, the rabbit with the robot arm, I think that's a striking character design. I think it's good, and I think it works. I think it feels a little bit like a game out of its time. Like, it feels a little bit like something we would get, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago.
Just a little title. Maybe
like
on Xbox Arcade?
It feels like an Xbox Arcade. It feels like a 360 era type looking game. But, it looks fun, and I really want to play it. And what is it, September 7th? It's really close to Deathloop, so, I really want to play it. But, let's see how much Deathloop grabs me, or how we feel about it at the time. Connor, what was your first game that you wanted to talk about?
The first one that I looked at that I was interested in was Hunter's Arena Legends. So it's a battle royale game, which I know we have too many of those as of right now.
Yeah.
The two things that actually drew me to this was, first of all, it's not shooting, which you have Fortnite, you have Apex Legends, you have Escape from Tarkov, which I guess is a battle royale game. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, it was nice to see a battle royale centered around more melee combat rather than just staying from a distance and shooting people. So, and I also did like the character design. I know they're kind of... I actually had to look up, because what it looked like was characters from Raid Shadow Legends. That was the first thing I thought about.
They do look like it.
They do look like it. Which, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
The only reason I don't play Raid is because it's a game on my phone.
It's a mobile game, and it's your cash grab gotcha game or whatever. It's Raid. And also so hopefully... We're digressing.
That's your whole...
Back to Hunters.
But, it's going to be free on PS Plus. It's coming to that in August. So it's kind of really no reason to not pick it up, considering.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not looking for any new Battle Royale video game right now, but, it grabbed enough of my attention, and it being free with PS Plus drove me over. I was like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah. You could just pick this up, try it out, and then maybe come back to it every now and then if you're just bored and have a couple minutes to spend.
Yeah.
But, I'll play it, see how that comes out, how that turns up.
And then from there, Connor, probably the best game shown here. Go ahead and talk about your second game.
Yeah. Sifu. Sifu is made by the guys who did a game called Absolver, which all was centered around melee combat and had a big emphasis on playing other players. Now, this one's taking a more story approach. It's taking a single-player approach to the entire thing. There's no multiplayer, but it kind of operates the same way. It's all fist fights. Yeah. Some minor weapons put in there.
We've seen Sifu before.
We've seen it. And it looked like it was kind of just the same kind of stuff, just still letting us know, hey, look how cool this game looks.
Bigger budget, bigger things. But I like the mechanic that they highlight in this trailer where, when you lose or when you die or whatever, you get older.
Yes.
And then as you get older, ideally, you're getting more powerful, and I think you're, unlocking skills as you age and stuff. But eventually, your character does, die of old age, and then you got to start all the way over.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting of hey, as you lose and as, we kick the crap out of you, it is going to get easier. But if we kick the crap out of you too much, you're going to get reset back to the beginning. You got to start all over.
So make sure you kind of actually play the game.
You got to actually learn its mechanics and stuff. I think its combat looks great. I think its style is phenomenal.
It's going to have customization with the fighting as well, because like Absolver, you're going to be able to customize your own fighting style and do they haven't gone in depth to it, so I don't know how exactly the systems work, but you'll fight differently depending on how you customize your character. Mm-hmm. So that'll also bring a lot of replayability to it, possibly.
And I think this is like the main game that everyone has pulled out of this state of play as being the most impressive and most interesting thing. Unfortunately, got delayed from this year to next year.
Yeah, that's
state of the world. It happens. But take your time, because this one, I think y'all, the guys over at what?
Yeah, I just know they were the Absolver guys.
Fight Club. Fight Club, is that them?
Fight Club.
No, that's the name of this trailer. Let me just play the trailer and see, because the Slow Clap.
Yeah.
I think you guys have something really special over here with Sifu. So take your time, do what you need to do, make it the game it needs to be, because it looks fantastic, and I know for a fact I'm going to play it.
From my little bit of experience with Absolver, I do hope it's a bit more tight, because Absolver was kind of hard to get into, especially when you fought against enemy players who were better than you for the most part. So, happy to see how it feels when it comes out.
Looks great. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and, kind of dive into the meat here with the Deathloop gameplay. I'm good, Deathloop. You don't need to show me anymore. I didn't need this.
You've been good for a while. I remember every single time news comes out, you're like, I'm still going to get it.
I'm getting your game. You sold me a year ago. Like, when you premiered it, 2 years ago, it feels like at this point? You had me from the jump. You know, Arcane Studios. I love Dishonored. I enjoyed Prey. And then this just looks like, Hitman meets Dishonored with guns, and I'm down, bro. Like, I'm down. You don't need to tell me any more than that, other than Arcane and that pitch.
Yeah, I will admit, I remember the last time they showed I think it was a gameplay trailer with music, and it was edited really well.
Yeah,
that was actually what pushed me over the edge to be interested in this game. Because before that, I was like, it looks cool. People will like it, but I never thought I would buy it myself. So I think even though they don't need to say anything else because we know what the game is about.
Yeah.
The last trailer drew me in, so I hope maybe they got more people in with this if there were some people on the fence still.
Yeah, you're just showing. I think you're just showing too much, and I think Deathloop as a game has been a little underrated in its in what, like, the level of hype for it. I think it's a bit of an underdog in the current, like, lineup for PlayStation games. But this game is just going to sell what it's going to sell, and it does look great. Don't get me wrong. This was a great demo. It was put together really, really, really well. I know it's really hard to get these demos together pre-launch, but this looked great. The gunplay looked fun. I was shocked to see the amount of guns there were. This demo showed off all the things that they've already talked about. The different day and night cycle and guard patrols and learning more. They keep saying it's not a roguelike, but it's stealing a lot of, like, roguelike type tendencies where you have different runs and you learn a bit more, but it's just not randomly generated. It is the same thing every time, but there are elements of it that change as you go through.
I still think that's enough to consider it a roguelike. You're
I do too. I think you're
again.
nitpicking.
Yeah.
The roguelike thing is you die and you have to reset and start over.
Especially when I thought of when they were mentioning in this trailer how you have to take out all your targets for the cycle to end, and the story would go and go and go forward every single time you died and respawned, kind of like Hades, which is, once again, a very popular roguelike. So they really just should call it a roguelike. That's what it is.
Sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm chomping at the bit, and I want to play. I want to play it.
Do you remember
more and more every time?
Do you remember what the release date was again?
September 11th? No, that's not right. Here, quick. Deathloop release date.
September 14th.
September 14th.
Yes.
There it is. All right, fantastic. So, yeah, that's about it for the state of play. A couple of other interesting things popped up, but nothing really grabbing my attention in there. A couple of games I thought were really generic looking. Some games I thought were cool, but not for me. And then, a highlight for Death Stranding Director's Cut. All right, neat, whatever. Moving on.
A lot of people like that. You can race.
You can have a little robot, buddy.
And race.
Does anybody want that? Everybody hated the driving in that game.
It's a director's cut, so Kojima wanted it.
Yeah, Kojima wanted it. There you go. Oh, we didn't talk about this last week when we talked about the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. We talked about that last week, right?
Yeah, we touched on it. Yeah,
director's cut is a weird branding for me. And when it first popped up with Death Stranding, I thought, oh, it's Kojima. Okay, that makes sense. Call it the director's cut. Everybody knows Kojima. Everybody knows what this is about. All right, cool. But then when Ghost did it, at first I didn't think anything of it, but then I started thinking, I'm like, the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima? Like, does anybody know who the director is? It's Nate Fox, by the way. But I just sat back and I was like, that's a weird branding. So now I'm sitting here and I'm waiting. When does if a third game gets it, if a third PlayStation game gets it, then it's a new thing PlayStation's doing.
Yeah, because I mean, director's cuts have gone on for years now. I remember one of the more famous examples was Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. There was so many cuts,
right? But for movies, but you don't do that for video games.
No, and you never really saw it until kind of recently.
It's these things. So I don't know what this is. I don't know why they're doing it this way. I think it's interesting, and I'd like to see how this affects re-releases going forward, bundling it with extra content and getting upgrades and stuff. But now I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for which game is going to get the new polish. Which game is it? Last of Us 2? It's probably Last of Us 2.
I can see that coming out.
Get a director's cut going for that. Maybe a little like side story with Abby or some shit. With multiplayer or something. Who knows? Is it God of War? Probably not. We got God of War Ragnarok on the horizon coming. Is it Bloodborne, Connor?
No, definitely not.
It's too old.
And that guy just keeps on going to the next game. He has no time for director's cuts.
Yeah, we're moving on. I don't. Well, it's not necessarily like the director thing.
I know
it's the team, but yeah.
They got to make that Elden Ring and then the next Bloodborne game. Keep going.
Connor, moving on. Let's go ahead and jump into your first penny of the day. The Switch OLED model. The new Switch, Connor. We got a new Switch coming. It's the new Switch.
And I will not buy it. Will you be buying it, Tavin?
Probably not. So yeah, this is pretty disappointing, but let's go ahead and get into the details here. We're pulling an article from Kotaku by John Walker. New Nintendo Switch model has bigger, better screen, out October. In a complete surprise move, wasn't that surprising? We all heard the rumors. Nintendo announced the new Switch, called the Nintendo Switch OLED model, because of course it is. Described as the, quote, newest member of the Nintendo Switch family. This is a 7-inch handheld with an OLED screen boasting an impressive kickstand, better audio, a wired LAN port in the dock, and 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is more than the launch version of the Switch.
There are improvements made.
It's improvements. It's launching on October 8th, same day as Metroid Dread, and will cost $349.99 or $350 if you're just, a layman. Mm-hmm. In most ways, it looks identical, but for a far smaller bezel, allowing for a larger screen. In fact, it's exactly the same size as the OG Switch and weighs only 0.05 pounds more. The Joy-Cons appear unchanged and will be interchangeable with the ones you already own. The new Switch is the big deal here, jumping from 6.2 inches to 7.0 inch, and being OLED rather than LCD. In what will be a surprise after the last few months of speculation, the device resolution remains exactly the same at 1280 by 720, and it will still only boost 1080p on your TV. This is not the 4K Switch many had been hoping for. Quote, the Nintendo Switch OLED model is a great option for players who want to experience the new vibrant screen when playing a handheld and laptop mode, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser said in a press release issued. With the addition of this new model to the Nintendo Switch family of systems, people have an additional choice of a system that best fits the gaming experience they desire, whether it's Nintendo Switch OLED, Nintendo Switch, or Nintendo Switch Lite. So yeah, we're just going into the deeper details with this article. Connor, here, let's talk about the good here. All right?
Yeah, there's some good.
There is some good. New OLED screen, that's great. OLED screens are always better than LCD. Mm-hmm. Always. So better picture, bigger picture, we appreciate that. More space, not as much as what's necessary in modern times.
No.
With only 64 gigabytes, not even fucking close to what we need here.
I already have issues on my current Switch with having to delete games all the time.
You haven't bought an SD card?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Connor, what the fuck are you doing? What is it, like 32 gigs on that
Because
bitch?
I've still been able to not buy one yet, so I'm extending it as much as I can.
Oh, you're a fool. That was like one of the first things I bought when I got my Switch.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I never want to worry about this. And guess what? I've never had to worry about it. And I've got mad games on there. Mad games on my Switch. The white Joy-Cons, the white new dock, the The new dock, I like the look of the white. I like the dock look. There's the Switch logo on the front lights up when you put the Switch in docked mode.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, it's very nice. The kickstand, I love the new kickstand. It's adjustable. You can put it at a couple of different settings this time. It's not just like a little wimpy piece of plastic just tied to the side of it. It looks like it'll actually be able to hold the Switch appropriately.
That's good.
All of that is appreciated. I'm sure this will have, the better battery life that even the base model of the Switch got a battery life upgrade, a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that.
People were complaining about it.
Yeah, well, it's bad. And so, there's going to be an upgrade there. Very nice.
Did you need that?
Better battery life?
Yeah.
I would appreciate it.
Okay, because I know some people were loving that news because they play it on handheld so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mainly play in handheld, or do you mainly play at home?
I'm about 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it just depends what I'm doing, where I'm going.
Right.
If I'm out, what am I doing? Am I in the theater backstage waiting for my turn? Yeah, I'll bust out my Switch, play a quick round of Hades or something.
Yeah.
Or am I on a plane? Or I'm about to, get on a plane this next week. Or,
there you go.
Next week, and I'm bringing my Switch along, so it'll be all
good.
handheld there, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, all those things are cool and they're great, and if you think that's worth and the problem here for me is it's $50 more expensive than the original Switch model. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's not enough here to justify that. If it was, hey, this is $300, the regular Switch is going down to $200. That makes more sense to me. But $350 and the resolution isn't changing.
That's the big thing people were asking for.
That's a problem, man. Your image quality was outdated when you came out, and we are 5 years deep with the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Your shit looks like trash, bro. It just looks bad. My cell phone can play games at a higher resolution than the Nintendo Switch. That's not good.
You do have to remember this is Nintendo. As far as pricing goes, they've always been terrible. Games can come out.
But this is bad.
This is bad. Yeah, it's not the worst case I've seen of them doing
if
things,
you were
but it's not good.
But if you were 1080p in handheld and then we were up resing to 4K, or even if it was almost 1080p, that would be better. But this 1280 by 720 shit, dude, that was old when you launched. It was bad when you launched.
Yeah.
And now here we are 5 years later, and this is what you're giving us. It almost makes me think you meant to put this in the Nintendo Direct that I was out because I was out with COVID. You meant to put this in the Direct for E3, but you were like, ooh, people are expecting too much. This is just going to be a disappointment and be a blight on our Direct. So let's just put it out a few weeks later, just a random trailer that we drop on Twitter. Yeah, I don't think this is worth the money.
No.
$350. I don't think it's worth it. It's cool that we get the LAN port. We didn't talk about the LAN port. That's really cool.
That is nice.
That was something that was neat. It should have just been there at launch.
Yeah. With the connection they have, it's just without that.
It's also video game consoles have had LAN ports since the PS2 days. What are you doing? Why not here? And it's clear to me that Nintendo sees this console as more of a handheld than they do an actual console.
Yeah.
But you're kind of getting your cake and eating it too. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So I was at first I was excited that we're getting this upgrade, and then I read a little deeper about some of the changes we're not getting, and I was like, this is actually pretty disappointing, and there's nothing really that interesting here. Not to mention the name is terrible.
OLED? You don't like OLED?
Nintendo Switch, and then in brackets OLED model. No, that's awful. You're hurt
I don't know what you're complaining about.
What are Midwestern grandmas supposed to do when they walk into a GameStop saying, "Hey, my grandson wants a Switch. What should I get?" This is a terrible way to go.
PS5, and they just do it right. PlayStation does it right.
You know what it is.
Number one.
You know what it is.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just go up.
Xbox fucks this up.
Yep.
Nintendo fucks this up, but we knew Nintendo was going to fuck this up. How many different versions of the 3DS did we get, or just DS in general?
3DS, 3DS
Lite,
XL.
DSi, DS, fucking new 3DS XL.
That's what I got.
New 2DS, whatever the fuck that shit was. Yeah, it was ridiculous. And yeah, this is just as ridiculous. So, very disappointing. Really, Connor, is there a Switch Pro with all the real upgrades we want?
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet, but do you believe it exists?
Yeah, no.
No?
No, I have no reason to believe it does. They never really... I have to see something to actually believe in it in any capacity. And there's just nothing out there that indicates there is right now. You know, I enjoy my Nintendo Switch at the end of the day, but I don't need... this is just stupid.
Don't get me wrong. I love my Switch.
Yeah.
Switch, one of my favorite consoles ever, just purely off of the convenience of it and the gimmicks of it. Yeah, it works. It's what I always wanted when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd like to hold out hope that there's a Switch Pro coming on the horizon, maybe with Breath of the Wild 2 launch day and date with that, like you did with the first one or something.
Find out.
I don't know, man. This is not what we wanted. Cool that it's there. Cool that it exists. More options for more people is always good. But your asking price is too much, and the fact that you're not bringing the base model price down with this is kind of ridiculous to me because it's just not worth it.
Trying to get as much money out of you as you can by doing these small little upgrades.
Nah.
It's just they don't want to dedicate to doing something good that everybody loves objectively, and not continuously get some more money.
Really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, let's move on to your second penny of the day. Topic number 3. The Witcher. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Netflix doubling down on this here Witcher. Now, they had their first ever Witcher Con this year. We were talking a whole bunch of Witcher news and stuff. I know The Witcher 3 is getting some kind of upgrade or something.
Really, it is?
I
didn't realize that.
But The Witcher TV series, the Netflix series, live action, Henry Cavill, is returning to Netflix Season 2, December 17th, which is very exciting. But they also announced a new anime Connor.
Yeah, new anime.
New Witcher anime. So, we're going to pull an IGN article here by TM Kim. The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf anime trailer and release date revealed. Netflix has given us a better look at the upcoming Witcher animated film Nightmare of the Wolf with the first look at its lead character Vesemir. Nightmare of the Wolf is coming out on August 23rd. At the first ever WitcherCon, Netflix offered the first teaser for The Nightmare of the Wolf and announced the release date. Oh, I didn't know this was a movie. I thought it was a series. Vesemir is a Witcher, and the anime who mentioned... Vesemir is a Witcher, and the person who mentioned Geralt... Jesus Christ, hold on. Let me start this over here. Vesemir is a Witcher, and the person who mentored Geralt during his training. He is a friend and ally to both Geralt and Ciri, and Nightmare of the Wolf will explore his story. In 2020, Netflix announced that it was working on an animated movie starring Vesemir, Geralt's Witcher mentor and friend. Netflix Animation is co-producing the film alongside Studio Mir, the team that worked on shows like Dota, Dragon's Blood, and Legend of Korra. That's it. That's the end of the article. Okay.
Yeah. In regards to something like this, just to quickly talk about the anime, anything anime related and video game anime related, I instantly jump on. But I do know that Dota wasn't all that well. People were really excited for it, and then it came out and it was kind of just like pretty generic.
People like Legend of Korra, though.
People like Legend of Korra. People really like that. But then again, that was a while ago, whereas Dota came out fairly recently. So if it's of that same quality, I can expect to be a bit disappointed. But
what did you think of the little teaser trailer?
I like the teaser trailer. It looks like it has good animation.
Looks cool. The animation looks better than Castlevania's animation. So I was like, okay, neat. There we go.
My only concern is what is going to happen in the story. How's it going to be interesting?
Exactly.
We haven't really seen Vesemir as a main character anywhere.
He has not been the main protagonist. It's all been Geralt so far.
People always like him, but he's jumping into his own in this.
Vesemir is a great character, but maybe seeing a younger version of him as he takes on a big. Maybe this is his first big thing or something. I don't know. We'll find out, but I'm more interested now that I know it's a movie. It's not a series.
No, it's not a series.
Yeah, I like that more than a series because I'm not looking to watch 10 to 12 episodes of Vesemir running around hunting down a werewolf or something and having those classic like Netflix 3 episodes or 2 episodes that are just filler and you're like, all right, we didn't need these.
Yeah, so, it seems like it's going to get straight to the point whenever it comes out and it's going to tell a story and be a really fun one.
August 23rd, real soon. Real cool that we got that. I totally didn't hear about this anime thing at all, so that was cool to me.
I mean, I didn't hear about some other things, too. This Witcher event was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Had more stuff.
I am excited to get back into the live-action series. I enjoyed the first season quite a bit.
So did I.
Didn't think it was perfect, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Henry Cavill's portrayal of Geralt was very, very nice.
It was solid.
Be good to see where Season 2 goes, though, of course... It could be
I imagine
bad.
we're just going to follow more book stuff. just going to be more books.
Yeah. You're more familiar with the books, so maybe... Do you have more insight into what might be happening?
No.
No, because you didn't read that much of the books.
No.
Only enough to know what's going on.
I read the first one, and that's what season 1 pretty much all is. Minus a story or two. And then they added some stuff in there that I didn't know about, and then I read about half of the second book, and I was like, yeah, these short story vignettes are not doing it, and these books are not written very well. So, I just kind of fell off. But, I consider myself a Witcher fan. I enjoyed The Witcher 2. I love The Witcher 3. And, I enjoyed the Netflix series well enough. So, I'll continue watching that. Connor, let's get into our final topic, my final penny of the day, something that I think has a lot of meat here that we can talk about here. So an article from Bloomberg by Jason Schreier came out, and it kind of set the Twitterverse on fire a little bit. I don't know if you saw what I was seeing, but it was a little nasty out here.
I did not see that. No.
There were some nasty things going around. So, Ubisoft plans Assassin's Creed live online game service. Assassin's Creed, a video game franchise set in huge worlds where each one can take hundreds of hours to complete, is getting even bigger. A new project, which is known inside Ubisoft Entertainment SA by the codename Assassin's Creed Infinity, sets out to create a massive online platform that evolves over time, according to people familiar with its development. Whereas previous Assassin's Creed games each unfolded in specific historical settings such as ancient Greece or Ptolemaic Egypt, Infinity will contain multiple settings, with room to expand to others in the months and years following its debut, said the people, who asked not to be identified discussing a project under development. Individual games on the platform might look and feel different, but they will all be connected. Details surrounding the project, which hasn't been previously reported, are in flux, and it's still years away from release. The team have also been affected by the #MeToo allegations that have swept through the company over the last year. A spokeswoman for Ubisoft declined to discuss Infinity in detail, but acknowledged its existence. Ubisoft aims to, quote, exceed the expectations of fans who have been asking for a more cohesive approach to the series, the spokeswoman said. As for the sexual misconduct claims, she said Ubisoft had investigated every allegation and took appropriate actions. Since 2007, Ubisoft has released a new game in the popular action-adventure series every year or two. Collectively, the Assassin's Creed games have sold more than 155 million units, easily making it the biggest franchise for the French publisher. The plan to turn Assassin's Creed into a so-called service game follows a trend employed by other big publishers. Inspired by smash hits like Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto 5, these living online platforms can keep players engaged for years by frequently adding new content or changing the experience in dramatic ways. The fifth Grand Theft Auto game, which has sold more than 140 million copies, largely thanks to its constantly updated multiplayer mode, is approaching its 8th birthday, with versions planned for a third generation of game consoles. Service games generate huge revenue over time by hooking players and pushing them to spend money and special content within the game. GTA 5 helped drive shares of its publisher, Take-Two Interactive Software Inc., up 42% since the beginning of last year. In the same period, Ubisoft shares were flat. After news of Assassin's Creed Infinity, the stocks jumped to a gain Wednesday in intraday day. Intraday day. I don't know how that word works. Development of an Assassin's Creed game typically involves thousands of employees across a dozen Ubisoft offices, led by teams in Montreal or Quebec City that alternate duties. The Montreal team that helmed last year's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, while Quebec ran the previous game Assassin's Creed Odyssey. For Assassin's Creed Infinity, the tradition will also change. In April, Ubisoft unified the Montreal and Quebec teams. Now, they will collaborate on Infinity, and each will have its own creative director. But Quebec will take charge of the franchise. There has long been a rivalry between the two studios that has had, at times, turned acrimonious.
I was looking with that. Acrimonious.
According to people familiar with the matter. So, this shift may cause some headaches. The organizational change is designed to help the franchise, quote, evolve in a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership, no matter where they are within Ubisoft, the spokeswoman said. But the reorganization has rankled some employees at Ubisoft, which is still reeling from last year's cultural reckoning over widespread sexual misconduct allegations Dozens of current and former employees accused Ubisoft of facilitating a culture of misconduct and abuse, leading to the ouster of studio heads and chief creative officers. However, some managers accused of abusive behavior remain in senior positions after the reorganization, people familiar with the matter said. That has prompted a fresh round of complaints on Ubisoft's internal message board from employees who were dissatisfied with the company's response to the allegations. According to people who read the messages, which were written in French, Bloomberg reviewed English translations. Last month, the French union Solidaires Informatique said that at least three Ubisoft managers in Montreal have been accused of harassment or toxic behavior, and that employees have reported other claims of racism and sexism to human resources without anything being done. The Ubisoft spokeswoman declined to comment on individual cases. Quote, any employee that had allegations and remain at Ubisoft has had their case rigorously reviewed by a third party and were either exonerated or underwent appropriate disciplinary actions, she said. Employees who have been under investigation would not remain at Ubisoft if results of investigations warranted termination. Ubisoft Montreal has experienced a rise in attrition over the past 2 months, said people familiar with the moves. The Ubisoft spokeswoman said the company's turnover rate in Montreal, quote, is in line with video game industry averages. A variety of factors contributed to the recent departures, in addition to the Me Too scandal and the reorg. Ubisoft is facing new competition from other video game companies in Montreal, and some employees, tired of working on massive productions, balked at the idea of Assassin's Creed Infinity, which may be the most ambitious one yet. So, Connor.
Yeah, I am interested in what went down.
Listen,
online.
There's a lot here. There's a lot here to divulge, to dissect and to digest here. Let's put the toys aside, which are the video games. Let's put that aside real quick, and let's talk about what matters here. If all of these cases of misconduct are happening and nothing is being done about it, fucking for shame on you, Ubisoft. How dare you just fucking get it clearly all throughout 2020, get the message of, yo, these guys are assholes and something needs to be done with them, and you do nothing about it.
I mean, this is a stupid comparison to make, right? If the Catholic Church can do it, I guess Ubisoft can do it as well.
But they can't, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
They shouldn't.
All jokes aside, fucking get your shit together. It's almost worth saying, hey, we should probably stop playing and buying Ubisoft games.
I mean, believe it or not,
that's a conversation we as a culture, as gamers, and us as hosts of a gaming show should probably have pretty soon.
That is it works, to be honest. If you say we are not going to buy your game until you get rid of these few people that are causing problems, the talking heads are always going to choose profits over some other employees staying in the company. It's completely ridiculous. I wish we did have some more. Well, I would like to hear more information on who exactly has been being accused.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
You're dealing
exactly.
with lawsuits at that point.
There's lawsuits,
and
allegations are allegations. You can't.
Some
treat
people
them as facts.
want these things. Like these, are traumatic experiences for some people. So they may not want their business, posted for everybody to see. And to be honest, it should be done internally. Anyways, that's a house you need to clean on your own.
But Ubisoft employees are saying that nothing's done. Nothing they reported.
Things have not. The necessary steps have not been taken.
No.
So this is something I'm personally going to keep a very close eye on, and if things aren't if things don't progress past this point, then I'm out. I'm done. I don't need to be playing Assassin's Creed. I don't need to be playing Prince of Persia. I don't need to be playing Rainbow Six Siege or whatever fucking bumfuck multiplayer game you want to pull out next.
Yeah, you don't have to play every game that looks interesting to you. Sometimes if you want to say something to the people that make the games and are doing this kind of stuff behind the scenes, just don't buy them.
Exactly. Now, that said, let's talk about, this Assassin's Creed Infinity news.
Yeah.
Here, I'll take the bit of the lead on here. Since I'm really out of the two of us, I'm the Assassin's Creed fan.
Yeah.
I've played almost every major release with the exception of Rogue.
Now, I love Odyssey, but that's really as far as I'm going to go with it.
You got a one-off. You know, I loved the original set of games. I like the Ezio trilogy. I like I love Black Flag, and 3 was kind of a disappointment. Regardless, as someone who has really, really enjoyed where Assassin's Creed has gone with these last 3 games, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, liking each one to different degrees, but I've really enjoyed the direction that Assassin's Creed has gone. I actually don't think this is a terrible move for the franchise to make. I think it actually makes a lot of sense. For one, ideally, it would unify gameplay, mechanics, and combat and systems, which are all dramatically different across Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla in ways that I think have a bunch of pros and cons. So I would like a more unified thing. I enjoyed Odyssey the most out of those 3. I liked how inventory worked in that game. I liked how combat worked in that game. I liked how the upgrade trees worked in that game. But I didn't hate how things worked in Origins or Valhalla. Valhalla being my least favorite of the 3, but, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's just down to personal taste, because I think all 3 of those games are pretty good. I think the writing overall was just kind of meh, but I think that applies to pretty much all 3 of those games, with the exception of Origins. How they wrote Balak and his wife was super, super interesting. So I would like a bit of a unification between gameplay systems and mechanics and so forth. And to hear that Quebec and Montreal, even though there's a bit of tension between the 2 studios and a competitive nature there, as long as it doesn't turn toxic, I think that will actually, competition can drive people to produce, the best product. So as long as it doesn't turn toxic and, people start sabotaging each other and stuff, and, hurting the work culture more than it already has been, and, seeing the product decline in quality because of that, I think, for the most part, that could be fine, and I think unifying them will actually help them, because if they're all working on the same project, it'll drive them to put forth their best work.
Mm-hmm.
I hypothesize.
I mean, the execution could be completely different. Who knows how the game will actually end up, and if that will be facilitated well.
And let me put best case scenario for this Assassin's Creed Infinity project or idea, whatever it turns into. I could see very easily. Okay, we have you have your central hub in games like Destiny. You go to the tower. You go to whatever the other hubs were.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk around and stuff. I could see a hub like that being in the quote-unquote present day, where maybe you create a character, and that's your character, and you look around and you see him, and you dress him in normal clothes, modern day clothes and stuff, and you can kind of customize him the way you want that way, and that's where like all your fun cosmetic stuff comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you squad up with your homies or whatever.
You're a part of the Assassin's Creed, the guild, or whatever you call it,
in the modern day. And then
together.
we bring in the co-op mode from Assassin's Creed Unity, which didn't it wasn't excellent, but some people enjoyed it, even though Unity was kind of a letdown of a game because it didn't function very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your little squad of 3 or 4 people, and you hop into the Animus, and then suddenly, bam, your created character is still there, but now it's in the assassin's garb, and their cosmetics are all tied to the progression of the items you're getting, et cetera, et cetera. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Because there's always that issue in live service games where it's like, man, like, this piece of armor is better, and I want to use it because its stats are good, and its passive abilities, are better for my build, for my character, but I don't like the way it looks on my character.
Common problem.
As opposed to the Avengers type way of doing it, where you unlock skins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're still getting these gear, but it doesn't feel like you're actually getting new gear because it doesn't affect how your character looks.
Yeah. Which was that a negative for you? Because you played Avengers.
That was a negative for me. I would rather have the mismatching shit and look kind of goofy occasionally.
Yeah, but at least you have more change with the gear that you have.
Or do it the way Division does it, in which gear that matters is relatively unimportant to how your character looks. You'll get some more things such as body armor or like some boots or whatever. But then in Division, you have a shirt, and you have a jacket, and you have, fucking, I don't know, a hat and a scarf, and,
glasses.
sunglasses and shit, masks and shit. And none of that really does anything gameplay-wise, but it allows you to put that personal flair on it without, sacrificing, how you want your character to look. I wish Cyberpunk 2077 worked that way. really bugged me that I looked like a fucking idiot for the handful of hours that I played that game. And I think Division being a Ubisoft game, it makes sense that this Assassin's Creed game will probably take a lot of notes in, its foundation for how Division works. And then you run around and, you select an era of history, and that's your map.
And that's where you go to the Animus, yeah.
And then you jump into, then you're in the French Revolution, or you're in Egypt again, or you're in ancient Greece again, or you're in feudal Japan. And they finally do a feudal Japan era DLC expansion or something.
Which Infinity that's where Infinity can shine the most, because I remember it doesn't happen as much anymore, but I remember when Assassin's Creed was still in its older stages of where it was with Unity and stuff like that, and the London one. People were like,
when they were in that middle era.
Yeah, right. People were always saying, I want to go to Japan, I want to go to China, I want to go to Russia, and then now this is an easy way to say, okay, we'll do all those things in one giant game.
Yeah, exactly. So best case scenario, and then maybe the game actually runs well, because Assassin's Creed games always come out and they're glitchy as fuck, and Valhalla was really glitchy for me, and I had a lot of issues. I was playing on PS4. I heard the PS5 version worked a lot better. That's not an excuse. And you still lose points for me for that. But and the loading screens were so long on PS4. And eventually it all accumulated to systems I didn't like as much as audit. Anyways, This is a digress. I still liked Valhalla. So I could see having a unified game, with unified systems that will help reduce bugs and gameplay issues across the board. That would be really appreciated. This is all best case scenario. This is assuming we've seen live service games go and blow up and do great numbers like Destiny. We've seen live service games start well and then trail off and people kind of lost interest pretty quickly. Division. And then we've seen live service games come out and just immediately flop. Anthem. Arguably Avengers now. Mm-hmm. I think Avengers it still could potentially pull itself back, but probably not. So here we've got plenty of examples of how to do it, what to do, what you do right and what you do wrong. This, if Ubisoft is able to, if the dev team is able to pull together all of this information and make something great, cool, super down, let's go. I think it'd be a little weird. You've trained your audience to expect a game every year or every other year. How much are you really getting out of these DLC packs, for which there are plentiful for both Assassin's Creed Odyssey and now Valhalla? How much revenue are you really making with this switch of model? But then you probably have to look at their other live service games and, see what kind of success they're having with those. Division, more or less pretty successful. Rainbow Six Siege obviously has been their most successful version of this. And then, some ones that people like, but they didn't really hit in the long-term way. Things like For Honor or what's another one they do? I guess For Honor is the one example I have where it's just kind of like, it's still kind of there.
There's a fan base.
There's a fan base, but it's just not, it didn't hit as well as Siege did.
No.
I think there's also something to be said with games like Division being a new IP. You didn't have the built-in audience. So people played your game, played the content that was there, and then they bounced. Assassin's Creed is one of the most popular video game franchises of all time. So
first one came out in 2007, and they've just had a legacy ever since then.
Exactly.
It just keeps making them.
Assassin's Creed 3 is like one of the it was competing with Call of Duty numbers that year.
3 was.
Yeah, it was weird. I think it was something to do with putting a number on it.
I see. Going back to the numbers from the Revelations and Brotherhood and stuff.
So I think in many ways this could really, because we've already got a fan base here.
Yeah.
You say, hey, Tavin, you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. You've played every major mainline franchise. Would this be enough to hook you in long term? And you'll play every major expansion and release. And I would say probably.
Oh, you would even go that far?
Probably.
I would think it would at least just get you in the door. But then maybe not go further than that.
As for the multiplayer stuff, who knows? But I would play all of your content stuff, your story content stuff. I would go in, if that comes in once a year, you get a nice little 16-hour expansion, 20-hour expansion. I'm down, dude. And they can come out a little faster. The last 3 games have all been critiqued as being too big. There's too much going on in them.
The Odyssey's big as hell. I haven't
Odyssey
even finished that game
fucking huge. Valhalla is fucking huge. Origins, to my memory, was really big.
Probably the smaller of the three, but still big.
I think it was. I don't remember now, though. So now it's like, hey, instead of going so huge, here's something a little more bite-sized. And by bite-sized, I mean it's about the size of a black flag.
Yeah, and it keeps continuously giving you more and more of that content.
Yeah, and then, as we go on, we're creating new dailies and new weeklies in the other eras, so there's reasons to go back to them, and you can still have fun and do perfect stealth runs with your friends in missions that, with missions that are in your favorite era, and you can pick and choose which one you like the most, and et cetera, et cetera. I could see how all of that could be fun, and I can see how all of that could build a community in which this is worth investing time and money into. However, this could all go left, and we could all do this, and everyone could be like, this is not what we want from Assassin's Creed. There's already conversation with these last 3 games. A lot of people miss how Assassin's Creed used to be. I think they're crazy.
I think majority of people have been more positive to the changes than negative.
I think the whole, this isn't Assassin's Creed anymore, has mostly been online. That conversation has mostly been online. Because Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if my memory serves, did gangbusters.
Oh, when it came out, it was one of the big games. Now, maybe being the fact that it was one of the first PS5 games could have helped, but still, it did numbers.
Could have helped, So it was on the most platforms, being next gen and I guess last gen now with the PS4 and the Xbox One and then Series X and PS5.
Yeah.
So you get boosts there. It was also pandemic year. Video game sales were up across the board. That was neat. So yeah. I do hope that this turns out for the best, but we've seen cases where it turns out for the worst. And who knows, maybe they get caught in one of those, Tale of Two games like Avengers did, where like half of it wants to be a cool action RPG and then the other half wants to be a live service game. Connor, how do you feel about the possibility about a live service Assassin's Creed?
As someone that's not too big a fan of Assassin's Creed, in the sense that I'm not always, just waiting for that next release. Mm-hmm. It could be good to just be a game that I buy once, and then they continuously come up with content rather than just do, here's this next story, and here's the next one, and yada, yada, yada. So I would actually kind of prefer this as to what their previous model has been like, especially after Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where I love that game, but it is really big, and I get so sidetracked trying to do as much stuff as possible, because I like doing that. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I don't think I could take more and more of games like that. But a live service game where I can pretty much freely go to this location and that location and get gear, get loot, maybe fight other players. Who knows what kind of systems they would have in place to keep me more entertained in a different way than what Odyssey has already done. Now, I didn't play Valhalla, so I don't know how similar it was to Odyssey. Because I did notice there was some gameplay changes into combat and things like that. But as far as exploration goes, it was pretty much the same thing as what you would expect from Odyssey?
Yeah, more or less.
Executed differently, I would think, but just still the same kind of game is what it was, as the same as Odyssey.
It was a big explorer thing, but they made changes to combat and they made changes to how gear and progression worked in ways that I didn't care for.
So, live service games as a concept isn't really something that I take to very often. I dropped off Genshin Impact despite me liking certain aspects of that game.
Did you see crossplay coming to cross progression coming to Genshin Impact?
About time.
Yeah,
good. That's actually very
across
good.
all platforms.
That's very good.
Even PlayStation.
Good.
Yeah.
No, not cross progression, not play, because you were saying play it first.
Crossplay was already there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I said I started play. I corrected myself. Progression is coming to all platforms.
Yeah, good. And that's definitely a negative for people that wanted to play on Genshin on different systems. But anyway, I as you were saying, it really depends on what angle they take with it and how it's all executed, and whether it goes the way of Destiny or goes the way of Avengers or Anthem. So it's all about the execution. So I'd have to see before I write it off or say I'm really excited for it to see what they have planned.
I mean, my quick pitch that I just described was like the first thing that popped into my mind. So I imagine that's the no-duh, this is what we're going to do version of it, since they insist on still having the Animus stuff still in there and the modern-day shit still in there, which sucks.
It does suck, but this is a good way to turn it into a positive.
For Assassin's Creed fans out there, it didn't used to suck, but now it does. It's bad now.
Anyways, they should have just written it off back in
as soon as we lost Desmond, we should have just stopped doing it.
Even then, yeah.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see what this is. But
it's years away, so
it's years away. We're not getting it this year. We're probably not getting it next year. It sounds like a bigger project than most, which means it'll probably launch with the same amount of content as we've had lately, or maybe like slightly smaller stuff, so that they can get the first expansion out there a little quicker.
Yeah, I would think that'd be more likely, considering the way they're going.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
We need that roadmap. We need that game plan. But it's just a matter of wait and see. I saw expected dates like not until even 2024, which seems like a long time away.
You see, I was expecting that. That was my guess.
Really?
For the years. Yeah.
I guess since they're still putting out Valhalla content, I think. So I guess, and then the whole merging of the two dev teams and putting something together and stuff. So, and you would have to launch with more than just one era. You would have to put a few eras together.
You have to. You can't just do the same. Like traveling to different countries wouldn't cut it, especially because one time period in Japan may be uninteresting in England.
Exactly.
You have to do.
Yeah.
You have to branch out.
And I mean, I think it's as simple as you're walking around your little Abstergo base or Assassin's base, whatever team you're playing for when you're in the modern day. And you go, all right, I'm hopping to the Animus, and then a menu pops up, and you go, do you want to go to ancient Greece? Do you want to go to feudal Japan? Do you want to go to the Italian Renaissance? I don't know. You imagine some of these expansions revisit the classics.
Oh yeah, like maybe what was the first game take place? Jerusalem?
Yeah, during the Crusades.
During the Crusades. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
That time.
It would be cool to see that time again, and maybe we get some revisiting characters, and they give us quest lines and stuff.
Yeah,
all of these things. All of these things make sense in my head. Jesus Christ, that would be like the biggest cast of all time.
That would be very big, wouldn't it?
Reuse. I don't know.
All this relies on them executing it properly.
Yeah.
And not
exactly
still sexually abusing workers.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. Do that first, or I don't give a fuck how good your game is. I'm out. Connor! That's going to wrap it up for the news this week, my friend.
Spent all our pennies.
So we've spent all of our pennies. Now, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we're about to, let me backtrack here. We're going to go ahead and get into what we call our What We've Been Playing segment. But, if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you can watch us play video games live over at twitch.tv/2pennygames. I solo stream there every once in a while, but our big show is every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central. Me and Phil do a day-long stream called Hype, H-Y-E-P, Have You Ever Played? In which one of us shows the other one a video game that they've never played. This last week, we finished off Mass Effect 2. Connor, you joined us for a good portion of the stream that week.
Yes, saw the big DLCs.
We did some DLCs. Phil, took on the suicide mission. We're going to find out how he did and how he felt about Mass Effect 2 here in a little bit. Stay tuned for our After the Hype spoiler cast review, which you'll be joining us for.
Yes. I even brought a mic if that would help.
Yeah. I don't think we need it, but we'll find out. I told Phil to bring one too because it's better. So, and then I have to do some tech stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's beside the point. So, stay tuned for that. We're going to get a full spoiler cast review for Mass Effect 2 going right here in a few minutes. But, let's go ahead and talk, you and me. What have we been playing this week, Connor? What you been playing?
All of my video game time, I've spent a lot of time with friends this week, so I've been doing a lot of that. But I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect 3.
Oh, excellent.
I'm putting a lot of hours into that.
How much deeper did you get?
Well,
last time we talked, you were...
I only finished just the moon.
You were going to... You finished the moon, or you were going to the moon?
Finished the moon. When?
No. I think on the pod you were going to the moon, and then when you joined us on stream, you said you finished the moon.
That's probably what happened. That sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, no
spoilers, obviously.
No spoilers, because sometimes Phil listens.
Yeah.
And, who knows? Someone, with some ears still working their way through the trilogy. Did you get the From Ashes DLC done?
Oh, that was one of the first things.
That was one of the first things you did. Yes. Okay, fantastic. Where are you in your Mass Effect 2?
So I still haven't done Tachanka yet. I'm at the final stage of that because all of my time has been doing side content.
Don't even say what that quest is.
I'm not. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So it's just been side content up until that point. I started the Leviathan DLC.
You started it.
I'm gonna hold off on it now because I heard one mission having a certain type of character with you during the next mission apparently has some good dialogue interactions. I have no clue if that's true or not, but I still have to wait a little bit longer before I do that. I'll tell you right now, it's whatever your love interest is. I have no clue why, but apparently it has good things that happen.
In the Leviathan DLC?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which, I know I'm not getting, I haven't gotten Tally yet, so I'm waiting to get her.
Wait for that moment,
that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because that's who I've decided to romance. So I put that on hold for a little while, and I went ahead and did...
It's a while.
I know, it's a little while.
Yeah.
And I did the Omega DLC.
Did you?
First time doing that one. That was long as all hell.
It's long, dude.
Which I know you said you didn't like the Omega DLC.
Not my favorite. It's fine.
I really like the content in it.
I just think the other two are so much better.
Fair enough. I do like it more than the From Ashes DLC so far.
The From Ashes, that's a mission.
You were talking about Citadel.
Citadel and Leviathan. I like.
Yeah.
Citadel is, I think, the best package in the entire franchise.
And you do that before the final mission, just to
literally like before when it goes, hey, this is your final thing. When it gives you the thing, go do that. It breaks up the pacing of the last arc, unfortunately, but it's just the best time to do it because it involves the most characters.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. So, Omega DLC, I really liked. It was very long, though, which kind of dragged at certain points. I was like, okay, you don't need to be going on so long. And the biggest issue with that DLC was I think I'm now overpowered. Because I'm pretty much max level at this point, and I still have a lot of the game to go.
God damn.
Yeah, I know.
You hit 60 already?
Almost. Well, okay, I'm wrong. I'm not max level yet, but I'm almost max level for the parts that count. Because almost all of the abilities that I want to be max, skills that I want to be max, are almost maxed.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit more, and then I'm good. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I caught myself off guard because I went back from the DLC.
How did you get that fast before Tachanka?
I know, because I went to the DLC, and I got done with that, and I went to my squad mates, because I did one mission after that, and it was instantly like, you have 17 skill points to spend. I'm like, oh, okay, I spend them.
Crazy.
Jesus. Yeah, and
see, that's weird because I don't think I hit max level until after I did the Omega DLC. But the way I do it is I do that first arc with Tachanka, and then I do Leviathan, and then I do the second arc on Ranark, and then I do Omega. So by the time I'd done Omega, by that point you got a handful of missions left in the Citadel DLC, and I was max level at that point.
Huh? Okay.
So I'm like 2/3 of the way through the game. You're not even a third.
No, not yet.
That's crazy.
And
what are you doing,
dude? I am overpowered right now. I am like before I came here, I was playing some missions. I ended up getting the Cerberus Harrier, one of those special Spectre weapons you can buy.
Okay.
And I may have to turn up to insanity at this point.
Holy fuck!
You know the harvesters. You know those giant bug things.
I'll say don't. Well, I'll say cool. If you want to turn up to insanity, do it. Final mission, knock it back down.
Here's the issue with that, though. You know the harvesters, right?
Yeah.
How easy is it for you to kill them?
Oh, it was pretty easy. But I'm doing biotic combos on them. I'm using all these powers and stuff. I'm annihilating them.
See, I put the incendiary rounds on the Cerberus Harrier.
Ooh.
2 clips, it's dead.
Holy fuck!
And like the Turian enemies, I melt them in a couple seconds, and still more like rounds in the clip. Cannibals, maybe like 10 shots ring out and they're dead.
See, I'm a sniper. Instantly. I'm a sniper, so like a lot of these guys are one-shot kills anyway for me.
Yeah, but it's like I'm rapid fire, so I'm just you dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead.
You're just painting them, and then they're going.
And counters are going by so quickly before I even realize they're done. And then I found out also. I remember the last time I was here, I said one of the biggest criticisms was they made the Vanguard class kind of stupid because of the Nova ability, which makes you do a grand slam.
Well, they nerfed it in comparison to 2.
Oh,
was your critique?
Yes, it was.
Not that it was stupid. It just nerfed.
It was nerfed. Well, I thought it was kind of stupid at first, to be honest, because I would do the Nova slam, which takes away your barriers.
Yeah.
But you still have, your other power abilities separate from Nova. That little charge symbol that appears whenever you use them.
Your abilities aren't. The Nova isn't tied to your cooldown like the rest of your abilities are.
It's not cooldown. That's the word I was looking for. I found out the tactic is to do the biotic charge because there's an ability where your barriers go all the way up when you do that. When you hit an enemy.
Okay.
And now I've realized it's the most, to my knowledge so far from what I've experienced with Mass Effect, the most overpowered class in any of the Mass Effect games whatsoever. Because it's just, you can do the Nova, which does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Charge does a lot of damage. Then do the Nova again. And the Nova has something where it says when you hit somebody, by like 15% your recharge rate goes up. So pretty much by that point, like 2-3 seconds later, charge is available again. You do it again.
See, this is why they put that weight limit on your with the weight limit on your weapons versus your abilities and things.
I'm getting it now.
You start building into these trees and you start seeing how these passives start working for you. On top of the fact that you can equip your weapons with things that alter that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why they needed another system to kind of for you to juggle and for you to have another plate spinning in your RPG mechanics in comparison to 2.
Yeah, which
is why I still think this game is the best gameplay of the trilogy.
Oh, Yeah, that's the thing. Without a doubt, it is the best gameplay.
Yeah.
I would be lying to myself if I said 2 or 1 had better gameplay, both with regards to the powers and the melee weapons, because the powers really seem to work off each other a lot more than they do in other games.
They work the best in here.
Yeah, Shockwave, for my guy, sucks. Completely useless ability, but...
I thought Shockwave has always been useless for me.
Yeah, it wasn't always the best, admittedly, but at least I got use out of it in 2. This one, with Charge and Nova and Pool, and I got Flare, which is the one you get from the Citadel DLC.
That's a DLC. That's a DLC move. Yeah,
very fun move to use. Even if it makes charge times go, a really long charge time.
I think that one, if I remember right, that move premiered in the multiplayer with one of the classes that they put out. If my memory serves correctly, I could be wrong. It could have been. No, it must have been a multiplayer thing. And then included in the Citadel DLC. Or maybe they came out in the same time. I don't remember.
That makes sense, because I remember Lash was in multiplayer, but wasn't in the story. I never remembered that at all, but it's in the Omega as well.
They added new abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
As they were going. So, which was cool. Enjoyed it. Or it's cool that they were doing that, and now you can get it in the base game as well.
Mm-hmm. That makes me just kind of want to play multiplayer more. The more I want
it so bad. It's why I hope this EA Play or this EA Live whatever play event that's coming this month. Man, I really hope they announce that they're at least doing it. Like, just say you're doing it. That's all I need, man. That's a win. If you do that along with the Dead Space remake, you win.
You're right,
bro. You win. That. In my mind, just because of speaking to my personal fandoms, that puts you right alongside Nintendo and Xbox this press cycle season.
It's coming up, yeah. EA's doing some good stuff.
They're doing some good stuff, man.
It might be their comeback.
It's important that it might be a comeback. It's important that we take note of it, but we should still be cautious.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've been down these roads with EA quite a few times.
This seems the most hopeful, but who knows? EA can with one decision screw everything up.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the narrative Mass Effect 3 so far?
That's the other thing I was going to get into. I think it's also the best one so far in that regard.
Interesting.
Because now, knowing the ending and the controversy that surrounds it and my memory of it, I'm more hopeful. But if my hopes are dashed, it'll be a big blow. I still think I'll consider Mass Effect 3 to be one of the best Mass Effect games because I really am liking it. But so many things that I thought were kind of iffy back in the day, I'm liking a lot now. So, for example, one of them was squad mates. I was upset that there was 6 squad mates. I don't know how many there are.
You can get up to 8 or 9. I think.
8 or 9, really?
Yeah, if you play all your cards right and you have the From Ashes DLC. I gotta think about it, because it's things like the Vermeer Survivor is a question mark. Tally is a question mark.
That's true, yeah. Either way...
is there somebody else I'm missing? I don't remember. Anyways.
Kasumi.
No. No, but you're right. It is a more limited... It's a more limited roster than 2.
It is, but where that was originally, back in the day when I played it, was a negative, I don't see any issue with it whatsoever. All of the...
If you also remember, the first one has the most... limited roster. It's your first game.
Is it really? It never seems.
It's only 6 characters.
Huh?
6 characters in 1.
It never seemed like it with that game. That's
2
weird.
has 12.
Yeah, it has a lot. Which is what coming back in the day, coming off 2, I was really hoping for that.
That's a lot. So, and this feeds into the overall bigger gameplay systems. 1 has the most in-depth and granular RPG mechanics. So you're doing a lot of micromanaging. Can you imagine doing that for 12 fucking characters?
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked, especially with how they structured 2, in which you have to use all 12 of your characters. So the simplified RPG mechanics allows them to rotate all these characters out, so they can tell you all of their stories, and you start loving every character, and you don't have a character that you go, I don't really care about that guy. You like them all.
Yeah.
So in 3, you like them all still, but we've got a bigger plot going on. It's less character focused than 2 was. So we can have it still plays more like an action game than 1 did, but we are expanding on our RPG mechanics again. There's more weapons. You can micromanage with attachments and stuff that you can put on the weapons.
Yeah.
The skill trees are more expansive and more interesting. So, I remember getting to the end of my Mass Effect 3 playthrough, and I was like, fuck! I haven't used James, and now I have to use him. And I don't want to build out his tree here. Hit the auto thing. And and that's with 8 characters. I'm like that, Whereas with 4, it was so simplified that I was like, all right, yeah, sure, fuck it, do it this way. So, like, 3 being just slightly more expansive and just having more characters than 1 but less than 2, it's already like, some of these characters, I don't care to micromanage what their build is because I'm not going to use them after this mission. And I know I'm not going to use them after this mission. So, you know, that kind of system of, like, how many characters you bring feeds into the RPG mechanics of it. Do I think that's the best, like, excuse? I don't know. But, you know, that's just how I kind of see it and how I cut them some slack in development of, like, we had to make these choices because we wanted to do this.
That makes sense, because they're, like, one of the things I think I touched on it for a second. I really like the campaign missions and also the side missions. They all seem to be a lot more important. They have more impact, whether it's stopping some people from getting attacked by some group or whatever.
Did you go... Oh, I forget the name of the base, or the name of the school. The school.
Yes, and
you went there? Okay.
And that's a good example of when they still include other characters from past games to matter.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not dead.
What's
they
funny
may
is
like
if you don't do that mission, that character you meet fights you later in the game.
Really?
And yeah, because that group that is attacking them kidnaps and brainwashes them.
Oh.
And you have to fight and kill that person.
Well,
I think that happens also with... we'll talk about it off mic. It happens with another character based off of choices you make in 2.
I'm holding myself back as well because not really realizing it. There's stuff that people don't know that I know.
Exactly.
Because I played the game back in the day.
So, anyways, you're enjoying 3 a lot,
immensely so far. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Still, the ending might really upset me and make me angrier.
Well, there's two things that feeds into that. I think most of your feelings are based off of your reaction to the original ending, which was terrible.
Yeah.
It was not satisfying at all. And I agree with you on that. I think the extended cut DLC, though not, great, improved it greatly. I don't remember what the conversation was back in the day, but for some reason I feel like you loaded up the wrong save and you didn't load early enough. Because if I remember right, when the extended DLC came out, it was like, hey, you have to load before you do the do not pass mission that I call. And I think you loaded up, and then it's the do not pass mission, and then you go straight to the final mission after that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think you loaded up a save that was the final mission, so the game didn't know to load the DLC for you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you did it fine, and maybe you still just didn't like it back in the day. But that was also years ago, and you don't remember.
My issue with it, I remember, it did change. The ending did change.
Oh, okay.
Well, my only issue with it is I don't accept endings when you already gave me an ending. Like, I saw the ending was bad. Like, you released it, I played the game at launch, I beat the game pretty shortly after it came out, because I played the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And then later on down the line, you say, oh, well, people didn't like the ending, so here's a different ending to make you happy.
It's not different.
Well, it gives you more,
same, it's
it gives
just
you more
expanded.
options. It's more expanded.
Yeah.
I'm like, well...
It's not more options.
It doesn't give you more options.
It gives you one option, but it's like, that's not a real option.
It's a pretty big option from
It's
what
not
I remember.
a real option.
It's not a real...
I mean, it is. You can do it, and it's a different ending, but you're not going to do it. Like, nobody does it. Nobody chooses that ending. It's a terrible ending.
We'll
talk about it offline. We'll talk about it
maybe
offline.
I'm getting confused which
also,
ending
it's
it
worth
was.
noting. It's worth noting the Leviathan DLC does add more context to it as well.
Okay, because that might help as well then.
It is. And playing the DLC, everybody talks about those last 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Playing that DLC gives some setup for those last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And all of that. So, I mean, we'll get to it. I'll be honest, on my most recent playthrough, yeah, the ending isn't, like, it's not perfect. It's not like, oh my god, what an ending. But it's like, oh, okay, the game ended. Like, this is fine. You told your story, and that's fine. To me, and I've said this before on the podcast, the entirety of Mass Effect 3 is the ending to the trilogy. There are questions and there are conflicts that are answered throughout the entire... or there are questions and conflicts answered and resolved that are galaxy-wide that you've always wondered about while playing the games that you do in Mass Effect 3. Tachanka, Rana, things like that.
The ending of those things are great.
Yeah.
Those were very satisfying. They had a good payoff. They were well executed. Well, they were satisfying if you made them satisfying.
If choices are done correctly.
Yes. But it was really just the end, the last bit. Important to say. Everything else...
Those last 15 minutes... Listen, I'm not arguing with you. Those last 15 minutes were bad at launch. Bad. It's been improved with DLC.
Right.
Greatly improved. I think it's I think it's a good ending now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's great. It's good. It's fine. You know, it's hard to end games like this. Knights of the Old Republic is a phenomenal game, and I think it's arguably one of BioWare's best games. The ending for that game sucks too.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't suck in like a spit in your face type way that the original Mass Effect 3 ending was.
Uh-huh.
It just sucks in like this is a generic, and it feels like it feels rushed, and it doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm. Right. For my experience for Mass Effect 3, that's kind of where I want to end it. Just so
fantastic.
I'll probably extrapolate on it more when I do finish it
as we continue, and then you know as we do the 2 and the 3 spoiler cast, hype and stuff, so forth. I'm very excited for Phil to join us in the Mass Effect 3 talk.
That'd be good.
Just to wrap up what we've been playing, I've been playing God of War 3 Remastered still. I believe I'm at the final boss. I'm fighting. I don't think it's a spoiler. It's a very old game. I'm fighting Zeus.
I know what happens in that game. Where are you right now? What's the location?
See, God of War 3, you return to a lot of locations. So I'm with Pandora. We're trying to open the box. Kratos, for some reason, gets some weird, like, sudden conscience, and you're like, this is out of character. And then Zeus shows up, and now I'm fighting Zeus. And I'm fighting Zeus on a 2D plane.
That should be the end.
Yeah, I feel like it's the end. Where can you take your story from here? I can imagine there's like I fight Zeus, and then there's like a second phase, a second phase in which maybe we both get big, like how because in God of War 1, Ares gets big, and then you fight him big.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Bigger's better.
But let me tell you what, man. God of War 3 is a great game.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to play. Really, really enjoyable. Definitely has a better story than 1 and 2, but it's still, it's a God of War story.
Yeah. He's going to go rage and kill things.
Literally. But its gameplay, it's its best. Something that surprised me is that in 1, and to my memory of 2, the alternate weapons were not the best. They, you only use them in specific encounters and stuff. In 3, kind of all 4 of them are valid.
Okay.
And in the first 2 games, it was like, okay, these weapons are cool, but I'm always going to use the Blades of Chaos.
Yeah. So you got the Blades of Chaos,
or the Chaos Blades, rather.
Chaos Blades. You got the heavy gauntlets.
Yeah, and then there's 2 other versions of basically the Blades of Chaos. There's one that you're like reaping souls.
Oh yes.
And it's like a way to like every couple of enemies you get some health back or whatever.
What's the other one?
It's an electricity based one.
Ah, okay.
So, but all 4 of them are useful.
Uh-huh.
Like I like using all of, and if I ever hit an encounter, I go, the blades aren't working. I switch and I go,
it's working now.
These are working. So that's fun. That's really nice to do. I'm determined to beat Zeus with the blades, though.
Oh, you have to.
I have to. I feel like it might be easier if I use other weapons or something. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But you have to. Mm-hmm. Like, narratively, you have to.
And I'm curious. Are you making Phil play 3 before
we'll get there.
4?
Yeah, we'll get... Yeah.
Okay.
He needs to know what God of War was before he goes into what God of War is.
Yeah. See, for me, I just watched the cutscenes. That's all I did.
They're something, aren't they?
Yeah. 3 has good cutscenes.
They're good. Yeah. 3 is a good game.
Uh-huh.
It's a really good game. And the first 2 games were good too, but 3 is definitely the best of the trilogy. It's got the best gameplay, best level design. There are moments where I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall in frustration because like the difficulty spikes for no reason, and I go, "What the fuck is this?" And let me tell you what, man. Zeus doesn't fuck around.
You texted me that when I guess you were fighting him for the first time.
Beating my ass.
So you're stuck on him.
I'm stuck on him. It's the only boss I've been stuck on. Like every other boss, it's like, oh, I died. Oh, I died again. Okay, now I got it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I got it in one try. Not a big deal.
This is the beginnings of a Dark Souls boss.
Dude, this guy fucking fucks you up. Like, his windows for attack are so small, and if he does hit you with attacks, it's so punishing. And I'm not all the way upgraded. I haven't found all of the chests and stuff, all the secret things to upgrade my health and stuff. My magic's all the way upgraded, which I was like, cool, whatever.
Sounds useless.
No, it's pretty useful in this game. I didn't think magic was useful in the first game. This game, it's very useful.
Okay.
So, which is not... this game is the best game of the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, you've said
all of the systems are useful.
I think it's better than the 4th game.
No. No. But anyway, so I'm just stuck on Zeus right now. But I'll beat him. I'll get him.
Yeah, you'll get him soon.
I'll get him soon.
In the same way, I'll beat Mass Effect 3 soon. Yeah. It's all going to happen.
Well, I'll probably beat Zeus way before you beat Mass Effect 3.
And the rate I've cleared up a lot of the side stuff, but I still got a way to go. Yeah.
I also don't like how like the tertiary content of like how planet scanning and stuff works in 3. Not a fan.
Yeah, not the best.
Also, the mission journal. Why is it still a fucking mess?
Dude, that's the big. It's good that it's the biggest complaint, but so often I'll be like, okay, what missions do I have? And it'll start at the codex,
and it's just a fucking like I don't know what missions are what. What are these?
Yeah. Oh, that's your issue with it, with the way it's structured.
Yes.
My issue. Do you have this glitch? I had it. I think in the last Mass Effect 3 game as well, where I'm in the codex. I open up the journal.
Yeah.
And it goes right to the codex. It opens up on that for some reason. Don't know why.
I don't know if I have that issue.
Yeah, and then I go over to the missions, and it starts me all the way down at the bottom.
Oh.
With all the missions I've already completed, and I got to scroll all the way back up.
Oh, I've
and
never
then
had that. I don't know if I've ever had that
I don't
issue.
know
That's
why.
weird.
It just happens.
You got some weird inputs, maybe?
No.
You got to scroll up. You can't scroll down, and it'll take you back to the top.
No.
You sure?
Okay, I haven't tried that. But
there you go. You're probably inputting things too quickly, and
No,
you're probably
no.
automatically going down by accident.
I just do journal. No, but it also starts me off on the codex, all the way to the right.
That is weird.
And then I have to go over there, and I'm at the bottom, and I go up.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, strange.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah, no, very strange. No, but that journal was a big critique when Mass Effect 3 came out of how messy it is because it's so unorganized. You don't know what missions are main missions and what missions are story missions, or side missions rather. And then like you don't know which ones are like, and missions don't update. So like if it's like, hey, you heard a guy needs an engine on the Citadel, and then you get a mission, and you go, okay, go to this planet, scan it. Pick up the thing and then go back.
Yeah.
At no point in that moment does it ever update. The mission description is the same. So, if you're doing things out of order and randomly and you're not actively going after those things, you have no clue where you are in progression-wise. Do I have the item already? Do I not have the item already? Do I just need to go talk to the fucker? If I do talk to the fucker, is he ready to accept this thing? Have I progressed too far into the story and now I can't go back and complete that mission because that character isn't there anymore? But the mission is still in my journal as if it hasn't been completed?
You would think with the remastered they would.
You would think they would fix it. Granted,
hey, with the main missions they say priority.
They do say priority,
which is enough for me.
That's fair. But the side missions that are tied to the main missions, and are arguably not optional missions, don't have priority on them. So you don't know what's fucking what.
No.
Granted, they do put a big blazing dot on the planet and saying, "Hey, here's a mission. Fucking come do this one."
Yeah.
Granted, to cut them some slack, it runs very well.
Runs perfect.
It runs way better than it used to. Like I had almost no glitches in Mass Effect 3 outside of maybe some like body physics when I killed an enemy and they would go flying off into space. You know, sometimes that would happen, but that's just kind of those are things you go, that's cute.
Yeah.
So you're actually kind of like that, but like even in 2, like the camera would cut and the character wouldn't be on screen when clearly they were supposed to. But that never happened in 3, at least not to me.
I only had one issue in that entire game. It was one part, and then that was it.
Yeah.
It's not even a consistent issue.
So far in my experience, the first game has still been the glitchiest.
It has been, yeah.
But they did so much, like the inserting all of the autosaves and making it really easy to fix all of those game-breaking issues, and they've probably even fixed more since then, or since launch with updates. So 1 had the most glitches and issues for me. 2 really was just like cosmetics where like characters would, fade out or like walk off screen or something by accident and clearly they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
And then 3, I had almost nothing. Ran almost perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I'm excited to have a conversation with you, full spoilers,
That'd be
3, later on down the line. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for the 2 Penny Games cast. Don't forget, we're about to cut over to an After the Hype spoiler cast review for Mass Effect 2, in which Phil, my good buddy Phil, is going to be joining us. You can watch us play Hype games over at twitch.tv/2pennygames. I believe this week we're doing Crash Bandicoot. We're doing the first.
You're doing Crash Bandicoot.
I'm playing. I've got hands on the wheels. Phil will be co-piloting with me, and we'll be playing some Crash. So it'll be a great old time. Come join us, twitch.tv/2pennygames, 1 p.m. Central Time. If you like the show, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, follow. You remember, you can catch us YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all of those. But until then, let's jump straight into this Hype review. And Connor, I don't have to outro you.
You don't? I'll see you guys in the Hype talk.
Yeah, and right now. Hey guys, so it's me, Tavin, and in recording of the After the Hype, I fucked up and I didn't make my setup right. So the After the Hype for Mass Effect 2 is actually actually just going to remain as a separate video because the audio quality is quite terrible. There's a lot of echo and there's a lot of like cutting in and out and stuff. So I went ahead and uploaded the individual video. But as for the full 2 Penny Gamescast, this is going to be the end of it right here. So please remember to like, subscribe, follow, share, all of that. It really does help out. We really do enjoy it, or we really do appreciate it, rather. Remember, you can find us every Monday at 8 a.m. Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, Jesus Christ, on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get it, we're out here, man. Appreciate you so much for listening to this far, and, we'll catch you guys next week for our 52nd 1-year anniversary episode. Very exciting stuff. Will we have anything planned? Probably not. Probably be a normal episode, but, it's fine. Thanks again, guys. Have a great week.